Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is your...
Today I want to talk a little bit about...
Photo News Fix. This fix is brought to you by Viltrox and their all-new universal teleconverters. The UTC for short is the world's best teleconverter, utilizing a new optical formula that compensates for loss of light and produces sharper images than any other teleconverter on the market. Any other teleconverter. The UTC comes in 1.4x, 2x, and the world's first 4x teleconverter. The UTCs are available for EF, Z, RF, and L mount. For more information or to pre-order one right now, head on over to the link down below in the description, and don't forget to let them know that the Fro sent you. First up, do we have some news for you? So let's kick off this week's fix with Sony, who's finally announcing the long-awaited A7 IV. The A7 IV was released back in October of 2021 and was a nice camera. It wasn't the revolution that the A7 III was, but definitely felt like a mid-level refresh. So with the announcement of the A7 V, is this the revolution you've been waiting for?
The revolution will not be televised.
Well, let's find out, because here are the top level specs. The A7 V's body is very similar to that of the A9 III and A1 II with some very minor differences. It sports, get this, an all-new 39.3 megapixel partially stacked sensor. This time around, you still get the 10 frames per second with the mechanical shutter, but with the electronic shutter, you can squeeze out 20 frames per second in 12-bit RAW and 40 frames per second when you enter the crop mode. Sony was able to drop the base ISO from 100 to 64, expanding the dynamic range to 16 stops instead of 15. In terms of autofocus, this is the first time we're seeing a Bion's X3 processor, which now integrates an AI brain to help improve the autofocus. Sony claims that the autofocus will be much closer to that of the A9 III than of the A7 IV, but I'll be the tester of that and let you know if it's any good. Now, there are dual CF Express A and SD card slots, which is still nice to have, a 1.3 million dot 3-inch vari-angle and tilting touchscreen that I hope doesn't suck, a C5 and C6 button, one for pre-capture and one to quickly toggle to APS-C mode to get those 40 frames per second, as well as an all-new grip called the B008Z, which will set you back $300.35. But now let's talk about the video specs. It can shoot full width 8K at 30p, oversampled full width 4K up to 30p, and full HD up to 240 frames per second. And to cut down on the heat, Sony gave it a new liquid cooling fan on the side of the camera. You know who doesn't need a fan? Me, because I'm already cool. What do you think about the A7 V? Will you be picking one up? Question mark? Next up, Nikon has announced the development of their next flagship camera, the Nikon Z9 II. Oh, wait, or is it the Z-Space 9 II, or is it just the Z9 II without a space? I don't know, and I don't care.
Tell him, Steve, Dave.
Now, I told you this was a stacked week, now didn't I? Now, since this is just a development announcement, there's not a ton of specs just yet, but Nikon did supply us with an abridged spec list. The body remains pretty much the same with some minor tweaks and the addition of more red accents. The biggest body change is the removal of the top LCD screen, with that area being replaced by the red logo and some quarter 20s. Now, personally, I don't know anyone who uses the top LCD screen at this point, so I'm cool with it being gone. But I'm sure someone in the comments will be like, oh, I love that screen. It's so amazing. I can't live without it.
Good for you.
Other noticeable changes on the side would be the new door latch, new spongier buttons, and where the video camera icon used to be, it now says red. Now, more on that in just a minute. But it's on the inside where most of the changes will be, kind of like me if I ever get therapy. Nikon says they are sticking with the same 45 megapixel sensor, but with some tweaks that will make the Z9 II feel like an entirely new camera. Cool. Great quote, Nikon. Thanks for sharing. Now, thanks to a 888 processor and dual AI chips dubbed N-AI, and I quote this from Nikon, a new beginning with autofocus. Nikon says, and I quote, with these updates, our autofocus has improved tenfold. Cool. Tenfold from what? Like -1,000? Nikon continues, you are now able to capture full RAW 14-bit files at up to 40 frames per second with pre-capture. Well, that's kind of nice, but I can only assume that means 60 and 120 are still just JPEG large only. But this is a welcomed upgrade. Now, in terms of video, I have one word: red. The Z9 II has Red's new Red RAW Compressed Lossless Format, or RRCL. It offers video specs like 8K up to 60p, oversampled 4K up to 120p, 2K 240, that's kind of cool, and Full HD up to 480 frames per second. I mean, that does sound pretty hot to me. Now, in terms of video menus, the menu has shifted to look more like Red's video menu. Now, since this is only a development announcement, there's no word on price or release date just yet, but my guess would be a full announcement by the end of 2026. Soon. Now, how much do you think it's going to cost? Let me know down below. And finally, Canon has done it.
Oh God, what have they done?
They've unlocked the RF mount and will now allow third-party full-frame lenses to have autofocus. But there's a catch.
Oh shit, what?
What's the catch, Jared? Well, I'll get to that in just a second.
It's unauthorized clickbait.
But first, with this announcement, Sigma, Tamron, Viltrox, Sirui, and others have announced that they will have RF AF lenses shortly. Tamron will be bringing their 35 to 150 f2 to 2.8, the 17 to 28, the 28 to 75, and 70 to 180. Sigma, on the other hand, is going all sport and art on our asses because they're dropping the RF version of the 14 to 24 2.8, 24 to 70 2.8, 85 1.4, and yes, the 300 to 600 f4. Do you think it's time to tell you about the catch yet?
No.
All right. So the biggest news here is there's no limitations on these lenses. That means you can shoot 40 frames per second with the R1, 30 frames per second with the R5 Mark II, and even 40 frames per second with the Canon R8. But the catch?
There's always a catch.
What I'm calling the Canon tax, AKA pay to play. What that means is you can expect prices of these third-party lenses to be more than their E-mount counterparts and only slightly less than similar focal lengths that Canon already offers. Now, this isn't much different than what Nikon does with their rebranded Tamron lenses. Regardless, this is huge news for Canon shooters who want to save a little quiche or get a focal range that Canon doesn't make. And there you have it. That's your April Fool's fix for 2025.
Fool you!
I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I didn't get your hopes up too high. You really think I would promote teleconverters? Do you really think I would promote teleconverters? You can't pay me enough to promote teleconverters. Anyway, Jared, PolinPhotoPhoto.com. See ya.